Hi, my name is Bob Carey, and I'm about to walk into a local Home Depot in Newbury Park near where I live in California. This stuff is called oriented strand board. They've actually got it stacked up fairly high at this store, but you see it a lot in construction. It's basically wood strands that are all glued together in a package, and it is sold in 4x8 sheets and has a lot in common with plywood. We're in the insulation section at Home Depot, and this stuff is called Tough R sheathing. I don't know whether you can see it very well, but basically it is the stuff I'm looking at is about 1.25 inches thick. There's a foam stuff in here in between two metallic coatings, and this stuff costs $18.30 a sheet, and it's made in about the same sizes that at 4x8 sheets that the OSB is made at. For sake of illustration, I found a couple of pieces of OSB, one piece of OSB and a piece of plywood. And I just wanted to show you, when I'm talking about a sandwich of materials, what I'm talking about is something like this, where you glue OSB on both sides of the insulating material. And if you used 1 inch thick OSB, this would end up being a sandwich of material about 3 inches thick. Okay, so I've got some, I think these are like 3 inch by 5 inch cards and some Scotch tape. I want you to imagine that each one of these cards is a 4 foot by 8 foot section of this foam core stuff that we saw at Home Depot. So I'm going to start by cutting 2 of these sections in half. And of course I'm doing this without I'm trying to get it cut straight. Let's see how it goes. So I want you to imagine that we've got these 4x8 sheets of insulating material, and we take a snap line and run it from one corner to the other and then cut the material. Okay, so now what I've done is I've taken my half sheets and I've laid them down over the individual assembly here and put them together. I put some tape along one edge here, and then I pick this up. Oh, it's going together pretty well. Okay, just for sake of illustration. And then we take another strip here, put it on the edge there. I didn't do that very cleanly, but you get the point. This whole thing becomes a tent. Now, to put sandbags up, stack them around the edges so that rain would not seep in around the tent. We have an immediate need right now to provide rain shelter for people, and there are not enough tents in the world for all of the people who need shelter in Haiti. So this is a quick way to ship a very light material out and tape it together in such a way that it could then be used to create tent shelters like this. Then the next stage of this would be to worry about hurricanes. Given Haiti's luck, there's every chance in the world that this summer or in the fall that there will be a hurricane. So one of the things to do would be to take OSB sheathing and put it on top of the foam. Okay, so then what you would do is you would probably, one scheme would be to dig post holes in the ground with post hole anchors, and then basically anchor the sheathing down, bolt it at the top in such a way that it was strong, put it all around, and hopefully you would then have a shelter that could withstand a hurricane. Now, it wouldn't be pleasant, it would be windy, and it would be very wet, but I think that something like this would be better than having several 100,000 people in tents. As the hurricane winds pick up and get up closer to 100 nautical miles per hour, debris is picked up and hurled by the force of the winds, and if there's one thing in Haiti that there is a lot of right now, it's debris. So phase one is protect Haitians from the rain with structures like this. Phase two would be to modify these things into hurricane shelters for a lot of people. Now the next phase is interesting because if you take these end panels off, and this is going to be messy, but if you take them off, tearing it all apart, and turn them around, I'm just trying to show you what I have in mind here. This structure can then be flattened out to be a roof structure. So the idea here is that you take the same materials from your tent and you take the ends off, you turn them around, and you then have a roof. Now you can see the concept anyway. I haven't worked out a lot of details because frankly I thought of this at 4 o'clock this morning and then went over to Home Depot and basically have put this whole thing together this morning. The thing is that there are several different ways that you can make the walls. You could make these sandwiches out of OSB and the foam, and I believe that would be fairly strong. And by the way, you would want to bolt those together because otherwise the whole thing could delaminate. The other thing is that there are several different ways to make walls. One way would be to take your roof and to pour a conventional concrete pad, and then to build the walls out of blocks using the hydroform process, which is a South African company that makes a machine and mixing machines that mix dirt and cement together to make bricks, and they have a brick design that they say is earthquake proof. So another way is to do various forms of reinforced concrete, and one of those involves spraying Grandcrete over this insulating foam material, which would be a pretty good way to proceed. And of course there's always the idea of basically pouring a good foundation, the way we do in California, building concrete reinforced walls and taking your roof structure, bringing it over and putting it down on top and anchoring it properly. I wanted to mention that I got the idea for using the insulation from Vinay Gupta, who has invented the hexayurt and has his own website about that. I basically am just trying to come up with a concept here that could start out in different phases, providing first of all rain shelter for folks in Haiti, and then hurricane shelter, and then we could turn around and use the materials to actually build homes. If you have suggestions for improvement on this idea, please send me an email at reconstructinghaiti@gmail.com. You can take a look at my blog at reconstructinghaiti.wordpress.com. What we're trying to do here is just be helpful. Thank you.